Hi, this is Spencer making a Dumpy Frog, White's Tree Frog care video. That's Jabba, my White's Tree Frog, Dumpy Frog, Australian White's Tree Frog, whatever you want to call it. That's him. So, frogs, he is a tree frog, so he's gonna live up in the trees like this, and he likes to jump. It's just what he likes to do. So, I would keep handling to a very minimum, and it's not too bad to handle them like Pac-Man frogs. You wouldn't want to handle as much, or like dart frogs. He's gonna jump on the camera, but they're a little more tolerable with handling, and they got a lot of personality, and I love White's Tree Frogs. I'd love to get more one day. And you can mess with their cage a lot, so like I have a foam background, and I have a piece of driftwood in the back of it, and some cork he can hide in, and he just jumped in his water bowl 5 minutes ago, so it's gonna be dirty, and I will clean it, I promise. And so they can come in some cool patterns. You can get some with white eyes, like mine. Mine's got like bluish white eyes. And this is a male, so he's kind of smaller than the females. The females get a lot bigger. And he's gonna launch. They have this cool little green color, or like this tannish color. They change colors a lot. And he's got these little fat rolls. That's why my mom really likes him. And he's a male, so he's gonna croak a lot. And believe me, he croaks a lot at night. And they sound pretty dang cool. I don't really mind it because he doesn't do it well, he kind of does do it every single night. But it's not like all night. He doesn't take all night doing it. Come on. So, his name's Jabba because he kind of looks like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. Go in your little house. Or not. And so when you're setting up these guys' cage, don't fall. When you're setting up these guys' cage, oh, my bad. When you're setting up these guys' cage for the third time, I would put a lot of things they can climb on, and a lot of things that give them humidity. I would recommend live plants, just to put off more humidity. That's what I would recommend, but you don't have to. I would just recommend it more. But like, give them things they can climb on, like that right there. And mine, he likes to just kind of like sit like just like that. He just kind of likes to sit just like that all night and just croak. He just likes to sit up on a flat surface and just croak all night. And they'll flare out that giant thing right there. I don't know what it's called, but they'll just flare it out and make those noises. And he's super cute. So what they'll be eating is, I feed mine live crickets, sometimes earthworms, and things like that. Like mealworms you could probably feed. I've never fed mine mealworms. I just feed mine earthworms, crickets, dubia roaches, and things along that line. And that's what I would recommend feeding. And I would spray down the cage a lot. And I wouldn't keep anything above 70, 75. That's what I think 75 at the most is for me. That's at the most. And you can do a bioactive cage. That's what I have right now. I have a bioactive cage, so I have springtails and isopods in the soil. There you go. And just spray that down a little bit, because I spray them in the morning. I don't really spray them. I spray them at night too. And that's him. So what I would do is also set if you're gonna grow live plants, I would set a UVB light on there to help the plants grow. And these guys are from Australia, and they got their little toe pads to help them climb up the glass. And you can probably get a pretty good shot on those toe pads right now. Right up there. Just on his side of his left eye. His little toe pads help him climb up the trees, his little cork, and the plants. And they eat kind of funny, so they kind of like grab their food and bring it into their mouth. So they'll like lunge out, grab it, and bring it into their mouth like that, like that. And that's what they'll do to grab their food. And he's gonna get a little bit bigger than that. Females will get a lot bigger than that. It's called sexual dimorphism. It's when either the male or the female gets bigger. And so like in snakes, female ball pythons will get bigger than male ball pythons generally. So females and males have this too. And that's an Australian white tree frog, a dumpy tree frog, I don't know where that name ever came from, or a white tree frog. So Australian white tree frog, dumpy tree frog. I've always seen these guys when I was little. Like I'd always see them in like a bunch of groups, and I'd always wanted one, and I didn't know what they were, but now I do. And you can keep them in groups. So like when I'll shut this cage so you don't launch it out. But when Karma, my carpet python, moves out of her cage, I'm gonna put like I'm gonna turn this into a phone background, and then I'm gonna put like a bunch of these in there, the giant live vivarium. And that'd be like the coolest thing, because they're super cool when they're together. But it's just a lot more food. And they enjoy to eat a lot. That's kind of their thing. And I'll feed them 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It really, like, I can't really say how many days you should feed your animals a week. It just kind of like depends on how much you feed them, like the quantity. So like if I feed them like 2 earthworms, I'll only feed them like twice a week. Or like, that's not what I'll actually do. That's just like an example. But like if I feed him more earthworms one day, then I'll feed less the other days. But if I feed like more like Monday, I won't feed Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'll feed like, well, maybe I'll feed like Wednesday. It all depends. Like I would look up what other people say. I'm not gonna really put out what I do. I just don't really want to. Maybe I will, but it's just it all depends. Like especially if he's growing or not. Mine's kind of like slowing down his growth. He's kind of getting to his full size, so I don't need to be feeding as much as a little smaller frog would need. And females get a lot bigger. I kind of wish he was a female, but having a male is pretty cool because he croaks all the time. But the females get like huge, like big. Like you can look up pictures and other videos of them. They get huge. So I think that's, if you're gonna do something, well, actually I would 100% recommend having hydro balls, then like a net that's like weed mat or like just some random net, and then dirt on top, so it kind of like separates it and drains the water down. And you don't want something like that. That's for like your Pac-Man frogs. You don't want something like that because that's terrestrial. That's a terrestrial setup, and this is an arboreal setup, so they'll be up in the trees. And I would 100% don't get a white tree frog unless you have a water bowl they can fit in it, because all the white tree frogs I've seen have been in their water bowls. His little cycle is sleep all day and then go to his water bowl and then jump around and eat food. That's kind of like his little cycle. And yeah, that's the white tree frog care. And I keep it room temperature. Nothing hotter than room temperature. No heating source, you don't need that. And that's kind of a lot of places they can hide and stay in like a little shelter. And humidity and wet, and don't let their skin dry up. It's not good for them. And same thing with the Pac-Man frogs. They absorb everything through their skin, so keep handling to a minimum. But it's not a bad thing to handle. Just don't really, like I always say, don't cup it. Like don't put your hand over it. It's okay if he's just like kind of sitting on your hand like that. And yeah, so if you don't want a super loud frog, then I don't know if you want this one. No, they're just fine. They're not super loud. And yeah, so that's it for the white tree frog, Dumby tree frog, Australian tree frog. That's it for them. And if you guys want to see pictures of him and my other lovely animals, then my Instagram will be in the description. And yeah, so like this video and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.